Hey there everybody, welcome back to the playthrough. We are just about to get ready to go back out exploring the northern part of the meadows we discovered yesterday with the Black Forest biome. We discovered our first burial chamber as well, which I was pretty happy about. Found our first Surtling cores, which we're going to need a lot of, so hopefully we can find some more of those in this session. And we also found a couple of queen bees as well, so we now have a couple of beehives, which I'm really happy about. Producing our own honey at last. And yeah, we're just going to cook some more food and make sure we've got everything we need. We're also going to drop off some of the items we've got on us currently, like our pickaxes and stuff, as the main issue we had yesterday, which stopped us exploring, was we ran out of inventory space and couldn't pick up a lot of the stuff that we found. So yeah, we're going to drop a few things off, cook some food, get ourselves ready, and pop out to that northern part where we found the Black Forest biome. Hopefully this one isn't connected to a mountain. Hopefully it won't be our fourth mountain in this island, and hopefully we can find a lot of the goodies that we're going to need. We're also going to explore the actual area itself and hopefully find some more blueberries, some more carrot seeds, some more, what else is there, thistles as well. Basically just trying to gather as much stuff as we need from the Black Forest, and maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, we might actually spot the merchant. Now, one thing I do know about the merchant is they do spawn quite far away in terms of the starting location, so he probably won't be on our starting island. If anything, he's probably more likely to be closer, like, in terms of distance away from our starting location, he's probably closer to where the boss, like the second boss, is the Elder. That was the other thing that we found yesterday. We found the location of the next boss fight, the Elder, who is the boss of the Black Forest. He's a giant tree man, and it's going to be a very interesting fight. Showcasing that one will be will be quite a challenge, I'll be honest. But yeah, I think the merchant will be quite far away, probably in terms of distance around that level, like the distance of where the Elder is. And yeah, the way the merchant works is that they have 3 potential spawn locations on every world, and when you're out exploring, when you get close enough for the merchant to spawn, that's when he'll appear, and it'll be whichever of those 3 spawn locations you're close to. Now, you could cheat if you wanted to and put the seed for your world into a map generator, and then you can find out where all the boss spawn locations are and merchant locations and all stuff like that, so you know one of the 3 and pick the closest one and go to that one. Quickly check on the bees are happy, nicely done. And yeah, so you can find him that way if you really wanted to. There has been a couple of playthroughs where we've explored for ages and not found the merchant, but we've actually needed him, so I have done that method in the past. It's a bit cheaty, I will be honest. I've never been a big fan of doing stuff like that in terms of pulling up the entire uncovered map to find out the location of everything, but there are some sites that you can do that on, and you can actually turn off certain options. So if you only want to see where the merchant is, you can turn off every other option, so it won't show you the boss locations and dungeons and all that kind of stuff. So you could edit it like that, but yeah. We won't have to use that on this playthrough. We'll just keep exploring until we find him. And yeah, we are just going to keep heading out north, go back up to that Black Forest biome, and explore it a little further. Oh, this is a copper deposit that's in the meadows. That's very strange. I've never seen that before. Although technically it's right on the border. Again, it's one of those that's kind of spawned right on the edge of the Black Forest biome. I do kind of like this area here. It's very pretty. Oh, there's a skeleton. That must mean... Ah, yes! So you can see just in front of us there's a stone slab kind of covering a hole in the ground, like a tunnel that's going downwards. That is another form of burial chamber. Wow, that's very fortuitous for us to find that almost instantly. Copper node right next to the entrance to another burial chamber. So yeah, this is another type of burial chamber. So the last one we went into had the kind of stone structure, kind of really rudimentary kind of stone building on the top of the entrance, whereas this one is literally just a kind of little tunnel that goes downwards with a stone slab covering it. So yep, here we are back in the burial chamber. We don't need to worry too much about getting our rested buff as we still have plenty of time left, so we are just going to pull our torch out and crack on with this one. Gather up all these glowing yellow mushrooms. Now again, like I said in our previous one, there are 3 pathways that you'll have in... Ouch! Oh, I didn't see you. There are 3 pathways in every underground dungeon that you'll find for burial chambers. As soon as you walk in, you'll have a main room, and then you'll have 3 pathways, one to the left, one to the right, and one in front of you. Sometimes they'll have doors on them which will be closed, sometimes they won't. And sometimes you'll even have skeletons that'll be right next to that entrance as well, so you could start being attacked almost the minute you walk into the dungeon, so make sure you're paying attention to that. And also, what I try and do as well to make sure, at least to remember where I've explored, is to leave doorways open. So, say if I've walked into a room and explored everything in there, picked everything up, leave that doorway open so that if I come back and I spot it in future, at least that way I know that, because the door's open, I've already been in there. Pretty sure that when you walk into a dungeon, all of the doors will be closed. Open to the chest, grab all the goodies. Sadly, you can't take any of these adornments off the wall. Those metal shields look like they'd be very, very high, like much higher level compared to our wooden one, but yeah, sadly we can't take them down and use them, as good as they look. Hey, another Surtling core, fantastic. I think that makes number 10 now, so that's great. Surtling cores do have a bit of weight to them. I think they weigh about 5. I could be wrong about that, we'll have to double check at some point. They have a bit of weight to them, but it's not too much. Oh, damn. It's 2 at once. Just pull them back into the doorway a little bit, try and funnel them in. Make sure we pull our club out. There we go, you can see I'm doing less damage. Even though it's crit damage, I was still doing less damage to that skeleton because I'm doing the wide swings, I was hitting the wall and the doorway, which is splitting my damage, which meant I was doing less damage to him directly. That's why it's usually better to try and pull them out into the open. You kind of have to judge combat in the dungeons based on how many creatures there are. You can pull them out into the open to attack them and deal more damage single target to the one creature that's in front of you, but if there's, say, 3 or 4 of them, pulling them out into the open might be a bad choice because you'll give them more room to surround you and all hit you at once. Especially if they're doing what these 2 are doing, which is actually attacking one after another, which causes me to have to constantly block and only get a chance to swing a couple of times. Sometimes you might just have to endure through one of them hitting you a couple of times whilst you're damaging another one in order to kill it. Again, I would recommend using a club. If you've got enough bone, if you've found more bone than I have in our playthrough, use 5 of them to upgrade your club to the 2nd level. That way you'll do a bit more damage and you'll take them down a bit quicker. It's usually a bit of a better option. At least I would recommend that anyway. But after we've cleared out these dungeons and we've moved on from the Black Forest, we won't need the wooden club for much longer. And once we have access to bronze, when we've started smelting down our copper and tin and combining it, we will have access to a wider range of weapons. But again, you could make more than one. You don't have to have one weapon. You don't have to stick to one type throughout the whole playthrough. As you've seen, I started off with a club for greylings, then moved on to a spear when we first started going to the Black Forest for the trolls, and they were quite effective at taking down the grey dwarves. And then coming into the dungeons, we've taken a club back for the skeletons, but there are again a more wider range of weapon types. Well, this dungeon was quite disappointing, I'll be honest. There wasn't a huge amount in here. I think there was only 1 Surtling core in total, but at least that's another one that we can mark on the map and cross off so that we know we've been here. We don't have to come back in future. Burial chambers aren't that dangerous, so we're fortunate enough that we haven't seen any of the elite monsters that you can sometimes get in there. There is another level of skeleton that we haven't seen yet in these burial chambers, which is I don't want to call it the boss of a burial chamber because I have seen them with more than one in there, so they're not exactly a boss, but they are a more dangerous type of skeleton. He's much taller, he glows green and does poison damage with this giant mace that he swings, but he also swings it really slowly, so avoiding it is not difficult per se. It's more just it's more just that you just need to avoid his swing and then hit him and like damage him down. So again, it's why I would recommend having a club over a spear. Spear, to be fair, I would probably say that our spear probably does about the same amount of damage as the club would do currently, because our spear is upgraded where the club isn't. But again, it doesn't cost much in terms of upgrading the club. I just haven't remembered to do it yet. Oh, this is a new runestone. It's quite a lot of text to this one. Leave it up for a few seconds. So here's our second copper deposit. Now, you'll notice I am actually marking these on the map. I've only marked 2 of them so far, but I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think we'll actually come back and make use of them. At some point, I probably will remove those markers as they're a bit far away from our home base in order to carry all the materials back. I think I've partially explained it already, but with your ores that you're mining, they have 10 weight per piece of ore, so you can only really carry between 20 and 25 of them, depending on how much gear you're holding. The less gear you've got, the more you'll be able to carry, but you can't carry that many of them, and we need a heck of a lot more than that. One update I wanted to give as well was that in the episode where I started talking about ores and collecting them and stuff like that, I gave a ballpark figure of about 100 copper to get started. Yeah, I was wildly inaccurate about that. You need a lot more than just 100. When I was thinking about 100, I was thinking more along the lines of actual bronze rather than copper. So I probably should have been a bit clearer about that. You'll probably want about 200 copper, if not more than that, to get most of what you'll need from the Bronze Age of gear that we're acquiring now. You'll probably be able to include a lot of upgrades in that as well. But yeah, I kind of didn't factor in a lot of the other bits you were going to have to build in terms of like upgrades and other things that they could be used for. So yeah, you are going to need quite a lot of it. But yeah, this Black Forest biome is quite far away from our home base. Oh, here's a third crypt. Fantastic. And it's nearly night time, so this is well timed. Hopefully it will be close to daytime when we leave, so we don't have to worry about going back. Although we have run out of rested, so we might have to get that. So yeah, I am going to mark a couple of them in case I do need to get more copper, just in case the other Black Forest biome we've explored so far hasn't got that much copper in it. We found a fair few nodes in there so far, so I think we'll be fine. But just in case, we might as well mark a couple of them here, just so we have an alternative area to come and grab some more if we need it. Now let's head back and get in this dungeon. Hopefully there shall be a bunch more settling cores in here. Like I said, about 15 is what I want to get started, but the more the merrier. We are going to need a lot of them for the playthrough, so we'll try and gather as many as possible. And we are going to place down a campfire and refresh our rested buff. I really can't stress the importance of the rested buff, especially for things like combat and dungeon exploring. The stamina regen is just unparalleled, especially if you don't have the wet or the cold debuff. It's really, really useful having that increased stamina regen, especially for combat, for dodging and blocking and things like that. As you get more proficient... Oh, we've been smoked out. As you can see, the smoke particles flying around our character. We are taking a small amount of damage, but we're just going to have to endure it until we get rested. There we go, and then knock the fire down and walk away. That should... Yeah, there we go. That's got rid of the smoke debuff. Yeah, I just really wouldn't recommend combat without the rested debuff unless you really don't have a choice. I believe one of the trolls we fought was after our... No, actually, our rested debuff hadn't worn out by that point, but it was getting close to it. It draws out your combat quite a lot. It gets to a point where you have to kind of step away from the fight a little bit and kind of drag the enemy around a bit. Oh, hello. So, that more elite, dangerous monster, or skeleton in the crypt. This is the one I was talking about, the Rancid Remains. As you can see, he's taller, he's glowing green, he's also stuck in the doorway apparently. Oh, no, he's got a friend behind him pushing him through. That was funny. Oh god, there's two of them. And a third one in the doorway. Oh, this is not fantastic. We're going to have to... Oh, ouch, ouch. There we go. Yep, he's poisoned me there. Poison's doing quite steady damage. The poison debuff normally is quite dangerous. When you get it from the bees, if you're stung by bees, it's not that bad. Deals a little damage and only lasts for a few seconds, but the standard poison debuff is quite dangerous. It is constant ticking damage, so be very careful with this guy. I think if you block his attack, he will still poison you, so that's why I keep stepping away when he starts swinging. Literally, you can just see as I'm doing here. He swings his weapon, I step backwards and he misses completely, so he's pretty simple to fight. Yes, he does. There we go. We blocked his attack there, and you can see that he still poisoned me. It was a reduced poison, like, timer and damage, which is the same for most of the damage over time debuffs, I will say. So you can be set on fire by creatures in future biomes, and that's something else. It's something I really want to stress, which is for poison creatures and for fire damage creatures and stuff like that. Anything that does like a status effect or a debuff that deals damage over time, make sure you're blocking. If you're going to get hit by it, make sure you're blocking. If you can't dodge it, then block, because that will reduce the time and the damage that the debuff affects you for. And it's very important later on in the game. Oh, there we have another spawner, or a corpse pile, or something like that. I can't remember what their actual name is, but again, skeleton spawner. Get rid of them. Oi, there we go, some more settling cores. There's only 2 of them, but that's 2 is better than none. We definitely need the more of them we can find. There's also a ruby on the table. We'll grab those 2 because we've got the space. Amber pearl, we can carry that. So amber pearl is just another one of the... What are they? The valuable items that you can sell to the merchant when we eventually find him. But yeah, that was the elite skeleton. Not too dangerous. Oh, hello, there's another one. As you can see there, he hit the door rather than hitting me, so he didn't actually deal any damage. Not quite sure why I'm attacking him with the torch. Should probably pull our club out. There we go. But yeah, as you can probably tell that because I'm swinging in a wide arc, I'm hitting the walls as well as like hitting him, and the damage is just really low. Like it's because it splits the damage that you do across all the items that you hit. So sometimes for creatures like this, it is better to kind of draw them into a room, into an open space, so that you're not hitting them directly. Honestly, you can tell that the downward swing, obviously it's a 3 attack kind of combo that you do with the club. You swing from right to left, then left to right, and then you do a downward swing. The downward swing does a lot more damage for 2 main reasons. One, because it's the 3rd attack, which is kind of like the final like heavy attack at the end of the combo that you're doing. But it's also because it's a downward swing rather than an arc, so that you're only hitting the one creature rather than several, so that you're doing all the damage to it, which means that yeah, you're just getting extra bonus damage. Oh, wow, hello. It's 5 in one room. That's fantastic. Is that a 6th one on the floor? Oh, no, that's just a pile of coins. I thought that might have been a 6th one. 5 in one room, though. That's perfect. We are doing very well with our Settling Core collection right now. Continue exploring. I know that it can get a bit confusing sometimes when, especially with the way I'm doing dungeons. I've done so many of these burial crypts that I kind of... The layout can change every single time. You'll never really see one crypt that's exactly the same as the other. You might get some similar layouts, and the more you do of them, the more you'll get used to the different types of layouts that they can have. But they will be different a lot of the time. So if it does get a bit confusing as to which way I'm going and stuff like that, I know it can get confusing, but all you really need to remember is try and find your way back to this room here that's got the doorway, the entranceway in it. Every time you've finished like clearing out one of the wings, come back to this area here. Open all the other doors, explore all the little rooms, check everything out, and then, yeah, come back to the main entranceway, because that's kind of like the grounding area that I use in order to make sure that I've cleared out the whole thing. Because, again, like I say, it can get confusing. When I first started running these burial chambers, I got lost so many times because I just wouldn't know where to go. And, yeah, especially when there's a group of us, I'd literally just have to use my friends' names, like the character names, like coming up on the screen to try and find out how to get out, because it is, it can get a bit confusing. But, yeah, just because I've run so many of these, that it's not that they have the same layout all the time, but it's more that I just kind of understand the layout and how to do it, so to speak. Oh, there's another spawner with a couple of skeletons. I have to back off a little bit there, pull our club out. So that spawner is going to be quite dangerous. Get out, smash those two down, run in and kill the spawner. It's called Evil Bone Pile, that's the name of it. Yeah, so that's, again, it's the skeleton spawner. I don't think it'll spawn any of the elite ones, so the rancid remains. I think it'll just spawn the standard skeletons. You can obviously get the difference between sword-wielding ones, or sword and shield, or the arrow, the archers, but yeah, it's just skeletons I think they spawn. There are also other monsters that you can encounter in the dungeon, but they are very, very rare spawns. We haven't actually seen one yet, so... as you can see now, I've actually had to switch to my spear. The damage is middling. It's not as good as the club, but it's mainly because the spear is piercing, and trying to use piercing damage on a skeleton is quite silly, because, again, it's a skeleton, it's got lots of gaps between its bones, so they are resistant to this damage. Oh wow, there's a lot of them, and we are taking a bit of damage. We're going to have to be careful here. Oh, double parry. There you go, take down that 1-star, he was the dangerous one. Our health is about half. Parry him. So yeah, you can see even with the crit buff there, it wasn't doing amazing damage to that skeleton. We might have to bail out of this one. There are a lot of skeletons spawning. Yep, I'm going to back off a little bit. Oh yeah, there's a lot of them. Jesus. Yeah, we might have to bail out of this one. We'll see what happens, because we've got plenty of rested, but it's more the fact that our club is broken. Our spear's already on half, or nearly on half already, which is not great. Kill that one. Don't kill this archer. What's our health like? It's not too bad. It's difficult attacking him in a doorway when he stood just around the corner. There we go. Regen some stamina. Come on, go down. Oh, no, there's more of them. Run back out again. Yep, I think this is where we've decided to just bail out. Yeah, we are. We're not going to stick around. It's quite difficult. We're basically just fighting a losing battle here. We need to go back and repair. We also need to upgrade our club, so we might get on with doing that. That was quite dangerous, that one. I didn't want to die in a burial chamber, because we would have to run all the way back here to collect our gravestones. Let's make sure we've marked this crypt, but also left it open. Yeah, I think we'll just pop back now, actually. Pop hike there and run back. Oh, some carrot seeds. Perfect. Let's grab those. Adding 6 more. So yeah, with the carrots, with the carrot plants, you will always get 3 seeds per plant. So, just to be aware, if you've picked up 3 plants, you'll have 9 seeds. But yeah, so as you can tell with the marker for that crypt, we left it open, so we didn't actually put the red cross through it because we haven't finished clearing it. I would imagine that because there's a big room there, like where we were having that big combat just then. There was a big room and there was 2 rooms, like smaller rooms on either side, which had spawners inside them. So I would imagine that once we cleared out those spawners and got back, actually got to the clearing out those rooms, I reckon there'd be some pretty decent rewards back there. But one thing to be aware of is that because of the randomness or the random generation of the dungeons, you could spend all that time going back in there and clearing out those 2 rooms, and then you could find out there's nothing in there. You might get a few glowing yellow mushrooms and that's it. So again, just to be aware that even if the dungeon seems like it's got a lot of difficult monsters and there's quite a few spawners and stuff like that, doesn't mean that the rewards are going to be quite high as well. It doesn't seem that the game doesn't seem to follow a kind of reward generation like that, which is a bit sad sometimes. But it's rare to find a dungeon that'll be that full of creatures and stuff that doesn't have anything of use in it. So as you can tell from the first 2 wings that we explored, we got plenty of settling cores and stuff. So I think that was one of the reasons why I've decided to go back, as we've got plenty of rewards from that dungeon already. We've got a decent foothold in terms of getting started, and then obviously we can we can go back there when we decide to actually continue with that dungeon and clear it out, and then hopefully find some more. We will want to explore that biome a bit further as well at some point in the future, but yeah, we'll pause it for now. We just don't want to run the risk of dying. I'd like to try and avoid dying as much as possible, although I imagine if I'm going to hold the similar fashion as I have with previous playthroughs, it's probably going to be a troll that kills me for the very first time. And as confident as I am at fighting trolls, and as you've seen with the 2 trolls I've fought already, and with how easy I made it look, it's always a troll that kills me first, and that is probably the biggest point I would make about trolls is no matter how confident you are at fighting them, they do so much damage no matter what level of gear you've got, unless of course you're really, really late game and you've got really, really high level gear. Trolls aren't going to be a problem whatsoever. But if you're Black Forest, or even if you've gone past the Black Forest into the swamp, they can still be very dangerous controls, and they do so much damage that a couple of hits will kill you. So it's something to keep in mind. I'm going to call it right now. My first death on this playthrough will most likely be to a troll. If not a troll, then it'll be probably something from the mountain, I would guess. But yeah, we're just going to head back. It's already daytime, so we're not even going to be able to sleep. We're just going to have to repair our items, look at upgrades, and we might even start thinking about doing some collection, some ore collection. There are a couple of items, like a couple of tools that we could do with pretty quickly in terms of the bronze stuff. But yeah, for now we're just going to head back and sort out our inventory and repair ourselves and repair our tools and stuff, and hopefully upgrade this club as well. Check on the bees. Both doing fine. You've got some honey in there. We've got plenty of bone. We've got plenty of surtling cores. Look at that. Plenty of them. We might actually make our our smelting area if we've got enough time. Yeah, I think we should have enough time to do it now. We'll probably do that after we've popped everything away and repaired up and stuff. Got our rested buff. Dump the food. We don't need much of that right now. Still got plenty of cooked meat, which is good. Oh, we just need to get rid of this amber pearl as well. Nah, we don't have the room for it. Of course we don't. Let's move the seeds for now. We don't really need those in the head chest. We are going to move things like seeds and stuff outside at some point. We'll probably have a little chest next to the boar pens so that we've got all of the stuff we need in there. I try and keep a lot of the seeds and stuff outside. When we've built a proper garden and stuff, which we'll get on with at some point once we've started producing bronze and started making tools and stuff, we will have a garden outside, which we'll probably keep a chest in, which has all of the seeds and tools and stuff that we'll need for that. Having a garden isn't too difficult. It's more just that you have to... Oh, excuse me. I almost yawned. Having a garden outside isn't that difficult. It's just the... you kind of have to need... You don't need a flat area for it, but you kind of need the space in order to expand it when you get more and more stuff. Okay, so in order to build the smelter and the charcoal kiln, we need 20 stone each. So we're just going to use our antler pickaxe and knock down some of these rocks here. They give a fair bit of stone each, so they're pretty good. I'm not sure if you can tell there, but I am hitting 2 bits of the stone at once, which is another quality of life update they added. When the game first came out and you were going to the Black Forest to start copper farming and stuff like that, if you can see that, obviously you might remember the size of those copper nodes. They are quite massive. When you were mining them, you'd only hit one section of it at a time, and some of them would have multiple sections, so you'd be there for a long time mining out one node. And I think the other part with the antler pickaxe, which I haven't explained yet, is that I think it might just be the copper nodes themselves, it might not be the actual pickaxes. I've never actually confirmed this, but it's always seemed to me that the antler pickaxe always has like a chance of dropping the ore that you're mining, rather than 100% dropping it every time, because there's been times where I've mined out sections of the copper nodes and I've only gotten stone from them. So I'm not sure if that's the pickaxe or the copper though, so again, don't take me at my word for that. It's more just that it's something I've noticed and I've never really looked it up. We might actually have to build a set of stairs here. We've just flattened out a little area to put our smelting area. I'm trying to flatten it out a little bit more, just straighten out that part. But yeah, I think we're going to have to put a set of stairs there, otherwise we're going to have to sprint up that rocky outcropping every time. Should have some wood on us. Yeah, we do. Let's just line this up nice and neat. We should pop it about there-ish. How is that? Yeah, perfect. There we go. Now, one thing to be aware of with these stairs is that when it rains, they are going to take damage the same way that a lot of the wood flooring and paneling and stuff will do in the rain, so we are going to have to be careful with those. There we go, that's our charcoal kiln. There's a little entrance at the front where you place the wood. Now we just need a bit more stone to make our smelter. Oh, we swung one time too many there. Dug a bit of the hole, dug a bit of the ground out. But you might have noticed there when I hit the ground did sink a little bit, and there was a little bit of stone that came out as well. So that was the bit I was talking about when it comes to, say if you're trying to flatten the ground and there's bits of the ground that are raised up that just won't flatten when you're using the hoe. That's what you'll need to do. You'll need to grab your pickaxe and basically hit that bit, so that the raised bit of ground in the centre, and that should then flatten the ground enough, hopefully, that you should be able to hoe it nice and flat. It's a bit of a pain, again, like I was explaining during our Let's Build episode, it's a pain when it comes to trying to do that and using the pickaxe and the hoe to try and make it flat. It can be a bit of a nightmare, but you can get it nearly flat. You can get it almost perfect. It's just there are other ways that you'll need to fully understand in order to make it spot on perfect. But I'm not that picky when it comes to the flat ground, especially when we put a floor over it. I don't really have to worry about it too much. Just had Hugh in there explaining the smeltery to us. Quite simple and straightforward is the smeltery. There's two access points where you put ore in one side, coal in another, and then there's the little drainage bit at the front where the ore comes out, or the bars come out. Pop those in there. Repair up our things, there we go. And yeah, we are going to need a couple of chests outside as well, actually, so I might go and knock some trees down and get some wood. I want some chests next to the smeltery so that we can store things like coal for smelting and the ores and the bars and stuff like that. So I feel like now we'll just grab some... What's this tree doing? Oh, God. So as you can see there, the top of this log is trapped in the other trees around it. So it's just kind of stood upright. It will deal some damage. You can see there the tree that was shaking. That tree was taking some damage from this log falling once we cut it in half. And there you go, another tree fell down and broke the other log for us. Fantastic. That's what I meant by the cascading effect when it comes to knocking trees down. If they deal enough damage to each other, they will cause a bit of a cascade, and then a lot of trees will fall down after that. So it just kind of speeds it up a little bit. If you're looking to cut down a lot of trees at once, again, I'd recommend picking a highly dense area of trees and start knocking them all down at once. Like, cut all the trees down first and then start chopping them up, because then you've got a higher chance of those logs falling onto other logs and breaking them, and then it'll just save you a little bit of time and durability and stuff. I think this should be enough for now. We only need enough for a few chests, and maybe we'll probably stick some wood in the charcoal kiln as well. Now, I'm pretty sure it's only standard wood that you stick in the charcoal kiln. As you can see here with the kiln itself, it's got a little entranceway on the front of it. That's where you stick the wood, and then that's where the coal itself will come out. So we're just going to stick a little chest next to there. Dump some wood in it, although we actually might need some more wood for the thing itself, the actual chest that we want to stick next to the smelter. Yep, there we go. We'll put it here, actually, because we're going to have another smelter at some point. And we'll put the ores and the stuff in there. You go, when we highlighted it there, it said 0 out of 25, and we could add wood. You can have 25 going at once, but they only come out one at a time, so it will take some time. And I think now's a good time to call the episode. We've been going on for about 35 minutes in this session, and I don't want to run on for too long, so thank you everybody for watching. I hope you found it informative, and we'll catch you in the next episode.